What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with some earnings that just came out. We have some very important data coming out, which is going to be the PCE data report, and all of this could affect the market moving forward. But before I begin the doubles information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them, and the offer ends in just 5 days. Anyways, for NIO, we bounced off our support today during the pre-market at the $4 area, and now we're trying to push up to 4.2. We're kind of forming a cup and handle like structure, and I could see potential for this to go even higher. If we break past 4.2, look for a push for 4.36. I'm seeing some potential in the markets as we're seeing other tickers like SPY and Tesla trying to push right now. Tesla's pushing into the 170s, SPY is at 507 trying to push higher, and we're getting a lot of momentum right now as time progresses. So we're looking pretty good right now. But the question is, how on earth are we going to move going forward? What is my anticipation as time goes on? And honestly, guys, the market is looking a bit more bullish from a technical standpoint, but this will also depend on what happens with big data. So I want to talk about the data first before I break down these charts and how this could end up affecting NIO. So for data, for tomorrow, it's going to be Friday, April 26, 2024. 1 hour before the market opens at 8:30 a.m., we have the PCE data report. We're expecting PCE for all items to be around 2.6%. That's a little bit harder than what we saw previously. For core PCE, we want this to be around 2.6 to 2.7%. Core PCE will most likely be very close to expectations because that's what happened with CPI. But there was an increase in CPI for all items, so I don't know if we're going to see the same thing with PCEs. We'll just have to be very patient with this moving forward. The fear and greed index is currently fearful. We're starting to see market momentum become neutral, and other things are kind of shifting right now as we're seeing market volatility decreasing a bit and approaching our 50 daily moving average. So we're seeing some shifts right here. Also, the puts and call options positioning is decreasing as well in value, and this is happening because we're starting to see a lot of puts being closed and these institutions hedging by buying shares, excuse me, not calls, but shares. So that's something worth noting. We also have some important earnings coming out. Most of the most significant ones are actually kind of positive for the markets. We had Microsoft, Alphabet, Intel, Snap, and a few others. Looking at the earnings, Microsoft is currently up right now. It's surpassing analyst revenue forecasts. They reported $61.9 billion in revenue, a 17% increase year over year. Net income also reached $21.9 billion, up 20%, and their EPS is $2.94, which is not bad. In addition to all of that, with the growth that is coming, financial performances are looking pretty good, and their guidance is looking pretty good as well. So with good guidance, the share price is up a bit right now. Alphabet is also exploding right now. The shares are currently up about 11%. They were up 14% at one point, still up quite nicely. We're looking at the first ever dividend being announced, and they beat on earnings. So they beat on EPS at $1.89. Revenue is a beat, and their cloud revenue is going up. Not bad. Their YouTube advertising revenue is going up. Things are continuing to grow from them. And on top of all of this, they are talking about how they approved from their board a cash dividend, which is bullish, and their guidance is looking pretty good as net income is up 57% year over year. So good earnings. Their guidance has been decent and strong growth. Share price is exploding. For Intel, shares are dropping a bit because their forecast is a little bit weak. They beat on EPS and missed on revenue. And you can see right here, their expectations for the next quarter are not the strongest. That's the reason why the share price is actually down a bit, like almost 8%. And for Snapchat, for Snap in particular, the shares are up about 27%, beating on earnings, showing strong growth. They beat on EPS. They actually saw 3 cents adjusted for EPS versus the expectation of a loss of 5 cents. Revenue is at 1.19 billion, and on top of this, they got some pretty good average revenue per user. So that's going up. On top of all of this, we're starting to see accelerated growth, not to mention the fact that they're rebuilding their advertising platforms. This was good for them, so it's good for them to see them going up. With that being said, for NIO, the news is coming out right here that NIO, once again, has formed a very, very important relationship with many other automakers that are involved in the industry. We're talking about NIO and Wuhan Lotus Technology. They're announcing that they've entered a strategic cooperation on charging and swapping. This was announced at the 2024 Beijing International Automotive Exhibition, and they're going to be carrying out comprehensive and in-depth strategic cooperations in the field for charging, swapping, and such. This is great news for them. It's Lotus. and NIO announcing plans to work together and unify their battery standards, charging, and swaps. That's going to be very helpful because by working together, they could help to bring costs down. And this is going to be very useful for them moving forward. It's part of why the share prices are up quite a bit. NIO also has launched the ET7. The starting price has started unchanged. This is the newer version of it. We're looking at the top trim variant. Excuse me, guys, looking pretty good. This was announced as well. And with this coming out, they're offering two options. There's the executive and executive signature. That's going to be coming out as well. So pretty awesome stuff and good growth and good projections for them moving forward as prices are the same. Volume is only 25 million, but I do see potential for NIOS is trying to push into after hours. In addition to that, the short volume relative to price is going up just a little bit. It's a bit more shorting than before, but nothing too crazy. McGuire gave NIO a neutral rating, and we're not really seeing anything else shifting over here. With that being said, what do I see for the markets? Honestly, guys, it depends on the PCE data report. If we're bearish tomorrow, NIO could retest $4. If we're bullish, look for 4.36. I personally favor that NIO might try to push higher and try to go up past the 420 resistance and push up towards 4.36. Since we have a bullish divergence, a bullish structure, and we're trying to form a bullish wedge right here. So I see potential for 4.36, but it also depends on the data. So far, the chart looks a bit more bullish. Tesla's also bullish. It's going to most likely test 175 by tomorrow, if not higher. If that breaks, we're going to likely go up to at least 180. I want to make it very clear that Tesla is looking pretty strong on a big breakout. We got lots of bullish news involving AI, new developments, and their AI chips. So good news for Tesla. It's looking bullish. The odds do favor it pushing higher. I think that the PCE report will affect it to some extent, but the odds do greatly favor more upside. For SPY is trying to push above its key EMAs over here, the 50 and uh, this is the 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. We're going to be looking for a push to at least 509, then eventually all the way up to 512 to fill this imbalance. If we do remain bullish, if we could try to hold above 507. For support, watch 505. If we lose that, we're going to be sinking back down to about 502. But overall, the trend is looking bullish, and I see a lot of potential in SPY as we have a nice inverse head and shoulders. It kind of looks like a cup and handle, actually. I would interpret that more like a cup and handle. And I see potential in this to push even higher. So even though the share price looks bullish, it also depends on what happens with the PCE data. So I'll be waiting for that, but just know we do look more bullish than bearish. If we're bearish after PCE, we're going to see the QQQ retest 425. If we're bullish, we'll be looking for 433. And if that breaks, there's an imbalance all the way up to about 439. 439 looks like a bit of a stretch. I'll be watching at least like 435 first. So it's 433, 435, and then 439 is three resistance levels worth noting. Well, let me just make it very clear that as of right now, we're showing a lot of strength and a lot of potential, and I could see this actually try to continue to grow, if anything. So I'll be watching to see how things go. Overall, I'm seeing a lot of strength being built up right here, and I think that the QQQ has more potential to fill its higher imbalances and such. So if anything, I would say the QQQ is looking a bit more bullish. We could break out and bounce here, and I see potential in this as well. But just to be frank with everyone, in order for this to continue higher, we need a decent PCE, and I think it has a lot of things already thanks to good earnings. For Aapl, we're looking a bit more bullish. We could push up higher towards 170.9. If that breaks, 172.5 is on the table. It looks like it's trying to show signs of a V-shaped recovery, and we're trying to fill this imbalance up here. So I see potential for this to push higher to fill its gaps and in some balances, but it also depends on PCE. The chart does look more bullish, so we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, guys, we're seeing lots of overwhelming amounts of confluences that the market is going to likely try to push higher. I'm seeing signals that NIO could follow the trend. We have to try to break 4.2. If that's the case, 4.36 is on the table. I see potential in NIO going into tomorrow. So we'll wait and see what the data looks like, guys. We'll be very patient for that, and we'll see if we get this break. But right now, the odds do favor more upside. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and peace.